Hello, and welcome to My Left Ear. I'm Carrie Freeman. This is my co-host, Petey Freeman, and he's here 98% of the time. He joins me. This is a liberal YouTube channel devoted to the election of Kamala Harris and Timwal, her VP. So this is something I decided on July 13th that I want to devote this channel to supporting them, getting the word out. And the My Left Ear, if you haven't been here before, is that I get a lot of intuition and messages through my left ear. This is video 217. It's Sunday, August 11th. All right, here we go. 86 days to election. It doesn't sound like much, does it? And a reminder that the DNC is Monday, August 19th through Thursday, August 22nd. And keep holding that joyful feeling as we watch these rallies that Kamala Harris and Timwal are doing. It's easier and easier to keep the excitement and the feelings because they're doing so well. They're attracting so many people. I can't even believe that people stood in over 100 degrees waiting to see them. I actually couldn't do it. I'd faint. That's just amazing to me. So it's going well for them. All right, so my screen blew up. We have to fix it. It doesn't seem to matter what Macintosh I have. It just does this. You know, I'm a child of the, I was ex-hippie, and I loved Bob Dylan. I hope a bunch of you know who Bob Dylan is. He's still alive. And so somebody did like just a little takeoff on a Dylan song, which I liked. So then I looked up the original Dylan song and I posted it on my community section. So I'm just gonna read it to you. The song is "The Times, They Are A-Changin'." So this is a parody. It's very short. And I'm not gonna sing. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall. For he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. The battle outside is a ragin'. We'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. For the times, they are a-changin'. And they are. And just a little side note is that actor, talented actor, Petey's really doing a number here today, but I love his belly. And his belly got groomed this morning, so it's very beautiful. Timothy Chalamet, very, very talented young actor, is playing Bob Dylan, and they're making a movie of it right now. I don't know when it's going to be out. I'm thinking early 2025. So go to Community and hear Bob Dylan sing the real song. Amazing lyrics. It's a great song. A subscriber, I get these great letters from you guys, asked me basically, will Kamala, assuming she wins, okay, so we're going to assume she wins. I'm assuming she wins. I'm pretty sure she's going to win. Will Kamala divert from Joe Biden's progressive calendar and become more centrist when she becomes president? And I actually didn't want to throw runes on this. I feel like it's premature. I understand the concern, but right now I feel it's premature. We have to be here now for the election and the fight, and not fast forward into the future, because whatever she chooses to do, it's going to be democratic. And that's what we have to vote on. Now, already she's talking about her plans and some of the things. She's going to get more specific, by the way. But when she's doing these stump speeches, she's letting us know they're interested in gun reform. They're interested in women's choice. They're interested in getting higher pay for the middle class. And it goes on and on. It's really going to be her choice, though, and I don't think we can expect her to be Joe Biden, even though she was really kind of trained in a way by Joe Biden. So it's too soon to worry, because we know we're safe with her, we know we're good with her, and we know she's a Democrat. So stay present. She needs to win before we go to those next questions. And here's something that I know, and my left ear knows: she will be really good for democracy, and so will Timwal. And by the way, his name is pronounced like W-A-L-L-S. That's not how it looks, but that's how it's pronounced. So I did get a question. Basically, the question is, will Trump get rid of Vance for a woman VP? Now, I don't think anybody knows if this is legal, if he can actually do that, but I'm just answering this anyway. I have looked at this before and I could not find an answer whether he can get rid of a VP after the convention. So we're just going to go with this question. So I pulled 3 runes, and the opening rune, the first rune is called opening. Okay, that's the rune, opening. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is Trump has thought about it, or is thinking about it. He's not telling anybody, but I can tell from pulling this rune that it's not going to really happen, but he's thinking about it, okay? So opening is the rune of renewed clarity, dispelling any darkness that may be shrouding his life. Then I pulled the rune gateway in the reversed position. So in times of accelerated growth, he will have reason to halt and reconsider the old. I think I can take these off. It's about integrating the new. And it says, if you, meaning Trump, are undergoing difficulties, the nature of your passage depends upon the quality of your attitude, the clarity of your intention. And there's more. It cautions, gateway reversed cautions, make sure that you are not suffering over your suffering, which he is. Hasty decisions may cause regrets. Impulses must be tempered. And lastly, do not go where you have not begun. So that's a big cautionary rune, but then it gets better, my friends. I got the rune of disruption. And my left ear, before I even read this to you, says, first of all, it's too late. And Trump will meet with opposition if he wants to make that move. Now, I'll tell you something personal. I have had this feeling that Nikki Haley is kind of like waiting in the wings, like a Broadway understudy, hoping that someone will break their leg and, you know, she can become the presidential candidate. I don't really think that's going to happen, but I just needed to say it because I just feel her like, what's going to happen? What if he collapses? I can get in. I had all those people voting for me and blah, 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 blah. If it happened, she wouldn't win anyway. But they might think, oh, this is brilliant because we've got a woman presidential candidate. Now let's get a woman Republican candidate and let's get going. But very, very unlikely. So now the last rune on this is disruption, okay, which is a little, you know, kind of like the tower in the tarot. It indicates disruption on many levels, and although there is no reversed position, this rune always acts through the reversal. It is the great awakener, I want to say disruptor, and in one fatal swoop, the disruption rune may act by ripping away one's current understanding and perception of their reality. At other times, it may serve as an awakening, an aha. During this time, one's relationships and partnerships may fail. Plans may go awry, and money supplies may become empty. Now, part of the plans going awry are that when Biden resigned, it just shook up like I said it was going to. The GOP, they had no plan B. They didn't think this was going to happen. And they've been scrambling, and they don't have a position. They don't have a philosophy except insulting, berating, lying, putting them down, and name calling. So that's where we're at. Very, very unlikely that we will lose JD Vance. Now, I saw a video myself, I think it was 2 days ago, and it was Trump on a golf cart with Barron, his son, sitting next to him. And he's talking about Kamala Harris, and he says, allegedly, I don't think it was doctored, but it's reported that twice now that it's the real deal. And it seemed like the real deal, not edited, but I just want to say that as a caveat. He's talking about Kamala. Trump is sitting there looking awful and rotund and sloppy, and he says, she's so bad, so pathetic. I think she's a fucking bitch. He actually said that. And when he said it, I was alone, and I sort of like, I sort of imploded, like, oh my God. But the second thought I had is of him being a father. And with Barron sitting right there, he was demonstrating. He was showing Barron, his son, 18-year-old son, how to abuse and disrespect women. And I had been hoping that Barron might escape Trump, but he will not. And I also wrote, Melania failed this boy. He's just going to admire and think his dad is really cool, and he's going to pick up all of his attitudes like a little chimpanzee. And now I want to comment for a moment on the attacks on Timwal for not deploying at the end of his 24 years in the what is this, something guards. Oh my God, I'm slipping. The you know what it is. I apologize. Iraq. He was supposed to be deployed. So let me read this because it'll clarify everything. We know that for a very long time before Walz's unit was deployed to Iraq, he had applied for retirement in anticipation of his run for Congress. He was going to leave his service and go right into running for Congress, which he did successfully. So people who are suggesting that he fled and avoided going to Iraq are simply wrong. These plans were in the making. He put in for his retirement months and months and months before deployment to Iraq. For some reason, after 24 years, I think people thought, well, he should have just re-enlisted and gone. After 24 years, people, and he's got this, desire to run for Congress and do good things for people, and he won it. He won it in a very unlikely district, by the way, because he's a winner. Timwal is a winner. So the people who are trying to swift boat him are just vile MAGA people, and they're disgraces. Just pay no attention to it. And furthermore, Timwal and or Kamala Harris should not address this. It's petty. And by addressing it, it gives them power and it promotes it. So they're very smart. They're talking about other things. And I could only watch a few minutes of it, but Donald Trump did a 90-minute presser of sorts, a pretend presser, but it was televised from Mar-a-Lago. So this is some reporting by a man named Brian Karem, or Karem, K-A-R-E-M, so Karem, I think. So let me just read to you who he is. Brian James Karem is a White House correspondent and political analyst for CNN. He also hosts the Just Ask the Question podcast. In 1991, Karem received the National Press Club Freedom of the Press Award for refusing to reveal his sources in a story related to the killing of a police officer in Texas. So he was kind of a hero there. So he writes on Twitter, these are his words, do not expect much from a press conference when reporters are pre-screened and given no microphones. Expect theater, expect a show, expect drama, expect a bad comedy night. All right, so these were his words. So the reporters that were invited were few, they were pre-screened, and they had no mics, so you really can't hear their questions. How convenient, right? All right, so Karem says, these are the takeaways. Now, I went through them and I sort of eliminated some because his list was very long. I thought it was pretty clever, but these are the takeaways from Donald Trump's presser at Mar-a-Lago, his pretend presser. And I'm just going to read these really fast to you. This is all according to Donald Trump during the presser, 90 minutes. She's a woman, she's nasty, she's not that bright. Now, what's Petey gonna do? He's change positions. Pete, that's your hair. Okay, now I got to get his face. Okay, we got his face a little bit. She's a woman, she's nasty, she's not that bright. He answered, abortion won't be an issue. He was asked about abortion won't be an issue, right? He says there's going to be 3 debates if they agree to my terms. He announced, I'm up in the polls. I've had the biggest crowds. He said he had bigger crowds than Martin Luther King. He really did. Then he said, Timwal isn't bright either. He said, if I'm not elected, we're headed for a depression and World War III. He said he was a perfect president. He claimed to be very successful. He's a fast healer and said it was a hell of a shot. He's going to start the most massive deportation program in our history. He said, this is sort of ironic, he said, it's a very, very sick world. And then he announced, J.D. Vance has really stepped up. Stepped up to what? I don't see it. He's the most boring, inept candidate that's ever been, and everybody feels that way. Everybody feels that way. Okay, we just blew up again. I'm coming back. Okay. And then one last thing. You know, I saw Nancy Pelosi do an interview with Jen Psaki, and Jen really was around her when she was the press secretary for Biden. And for some reason, it wasn't enough that Pelosi and others got Joe Biden to step down. But then she had to go on and say something the other day. And I don't, will you just shut up? So she said, I don't know what provoked it. I don't know what question preceded her to say, I've never been that impressed with his political operation. And she meant Joe Biden's. Why does she need to say that? He was practically perfect president. celebrated. It's going to go down in the history books. I don't know, but I think maybe she should step down. And then she did wax poetic about how hard it was and how she, kind of intimated that she cried about this thing with Joe Biden. And she really wouldn't come out and say, we're fine, we're friends, because they have been friends for like 30 or 40 years. She wouldn't come out and say that. So I think there remains some tension there. And I wouldn't blame Joe Biden at all, because as I said before in previous videos, for me, it wasn't the issue that they wanted him to step down. It was how they all went about it. It felt cruel. Nobody ever gave the good news before they came in with their opinion, like saying, this has been the most consequential president that we have seen since FDR. Joe Biden literally swooped in and saved us. None of that. It was just go for the jugular and get him to resign. I just didn't like it. I know a lot of you didn't like it either. All right, so we're coming to the end here. Good evidence, which I always share, good evidence. And there's a reason I'm sharing this, and I'll tell you the tag, because most of you, there is an ebook, but the one I have rewritten, and I actually don't have the money for the proofreader yet, because I lost so much with my accident. I really lost a lot. I had to close down my savings account. So here's what I wrote. I left my house yesterday because I couldn't get anything done. I was thinking vacuuming was important and doing this was important. And I went, you're not going to get anything done unless you get out of the apartment. So I organized 4 folders, things that I'm working on, various things. And I drove to Starbucks, and I spent 3 hours at Starbucks catching up on all these folders and things that I was doing, and this video and all kinds of productive stuff. And then I wrote for an hour and a half on a sitcom project that I'm working on to pitch to a streaming channel, because I know somebody at a streaming channel who loved this idea. So I'm getting ready to finish that and send it to my friend. Very excited about this. I just wish I could tell you, but until I get it copyrighted, I can't do it. Anyway, this was good evidence because it was productive. And when you are productive, even if it's cleaning your house, it makes you happy. It lights, yes it does, Pete. You're a little antsy. It lights you up because you did this, you did that, you took care of business, you returned phone calls, and it feels complete. And that's why it's good evidence. So good evidence isn't just what you receive or what happens to you. It's also in your hands. What did you create? What hard work did you do? Did you clean up the bedroom? Blah, 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 blah. So that was good evidence for me. I felt so productive and creative, and I loved the writing that I got done. I'm so close. Anyway, now we're on to quotes. And I'm going to refer to me again with the quotes, because there are a lot of complaints and criticisms on Twitter about that Kamala Harris is not doing a press meeting, a presser, so that the journalists can ask her questions. I think it's really funny. So the journalists are really, what's she hiding? Why isn't she doing this? She needs to do this. And yet she's filling auditoriums and meeting halls with thousands and thousands and thousands of people in 105 temperature. She's doing exactly what she should be doing. So as a result, I wrote, the mainstream media are having tantrums that they created with false narratives and omissions. False narratives about her, Trump, and omissions about things like she's a fucking bitch. Things like him having a 21-second brain freeze in Bozeman, Montana. They're not being fair. So I said, I wrote, what do I mean by this? And I said, the mainstream media failed to acknowledge that Trump is a dementia-ridden psychopath and an active criminal. That was my quote, and I'm sticking to it. And I got to tell you, I got so many hits on it, notifications, reposts. People reposted it over and over and over again. So I hit a nerve when I wrote that. And that's it for today. Let's see if we can get Petey to turn around because his face is missing. But here's why he's so fantastic. I will turn him around and he won't care. All right, Pete. We're gonna just turn you around so everybody can see your gorgeous self. I know, mommy is a pain in the neck. There you are. There you are, sweet boy. There you are, sweet boy. Thank you. So I know, I think he's taken over the YouTube channel and he's more popular than I am now. And he's asking for his own trailer. Yeah. And a makeup team. As you can see, he's very, he has a lot of vanity. So anyway, that's it. I've got something cooking that I want to offer you guys, but I'm going to wait a day or two to announce it. And I'm excited about that. It's something really cool. And I will see you. I turned off the air conditioning, so I got to go turn it back on because it's really hot and I'm starting to, kind of get misty. Thank you. Thank you for this Sunday. And Petey thanks you. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.